In today's video, I'm going to review the month of June in my Erin Condren monthly planner. Hi, I'm Kristen and I'm on a journey to uncomplicate my life with functional planning and imperfect home management. If you're like me and you need a gentle reminder to just keep it simple, please make sure you're subscribed and I'll be right back. This is going to be the last review I do in this planner. This planner is like full. So I've been using it since January and we are towards the end of June, and I've just got so much stuff in here, and I am switching to my new monthly planner. There's still 6 months left in here, but I decided to switch to the academic year. So I'll probably just use the rest of this book just as scratch paper and stuff like that. But I was trying to decide if I wanted to do my monthly review in this book so that it would be there, like on this page. But I don't know. I think I'm gonna hold off and I'm just gonna go ahead and do it in my current planner. And then if I want to transfer it over when I set up July in that planner, I can. But I think just for now, I'm gonna go ahead and do it here like I normally would. Like you see here, I kind of have my reviews that I always do at the end of every month. So yeah, I'm just gonna go ahead and do it here. And I have this highlighter from Erin Condren. It's the Cornflower of their new rainbow highlighter dual tip dual ink markers. The Inspire highlighter is dark blue, which matches July, but it's too dark really to write on to see what you're writing. So I'm gonna use this lighter blue, which is Cornflower. And I forgot, it looks like I forgot to bring over my stencil that I normally use. So I'm just gonna use the ruler as a straight edge, and let's get into the review. So just a reminder here, I just highlight, I write my questions in the highlight, and then I answer the questions. And that's really all it is. I used to do more goals and stuff on this page, but I am starting to put those into the dashboard. And then of course in the new monthly planner, we have the new dashboard with goal stuff on it. So I'll be changing up kind of how I do everything once I start working in that planner. But let's just finish out this last month here, and let me take this out and I'll just use this ruler then. So this is my cheat sheet of the questions I ask myself. And so I'm just gonna go ahead and get started. So what went well in the month of June? I feel like in June I got really very intentional about what I want to do for some different areas in my life. I haven't made a lot of progress in actually doing those things, but I have been making like time to really reflect and decide what's important, what's not so important, and kind of start making some plans for how I can achieve some of these things. I tend to get, when I'm thinking about what I want, I just overthink, and I kind of think of like all of the things, and I'm like, okay, I want to do this, 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 and then I think I can do all of it, which I can, but just not in the same period of time. So what I've kind of learned, which is going to be a question for later, is like how that I need to prioritize. Maybe I'm not doing so well at prioritizing, but I know now that I need what I thought was prioritizing before, like wasn't. So what went well was, I don't, see, this is where it's hard, like, I don't know what to call it, like intentional brainstorming, intentional reflection, maybe. I feel energized and like I am on a path of making better systems and plans for myself that are actually going to result in things happening that I want to happen. So I think this has come with the practice of doing this every month, that reflecting every month, and then now like kind of starting to be more intentional about like weekly reflections, nothing formal like this, but just when I'm planning and just kind of thinking of how the previous week went and how it could have gone better and stuff like that. Having been doing this like consistently for the last 6 months has really helped me improve that process and really helped me like learn what I need specifically, and not just what some like goal setting system taught me, you know, like this is actually me doing it and what really makes sense in my brain. And just the only way you can do that is just really like asking yourself questions every month and being very intentional and picking what works for your brain and doing that. It's hard to explain because sometimes you don't know where to start, and a goal setting system is perfect because if you have absolutely zero clue where to start, then you probably need a little system to start with, and then you go from there and you tweak that system. But I feel like I've been dabbling in different goal setting systems for so long now and feeling overwhelmed and or frustrated, and just kind of learning what it is that I really need by reflecting every month is just super helpful. And to be fair, most systems are having you reflect every month. Like that's not like anything groundbreaking. It's just actually doing it and not getting frustrated and overwhelmed and then not doing it. That's the point I'm trying to make. Like actually doing it is what's helping me. And the way I've been doing this is helping me stick to doing it. So there, I hope that makes sense. Sometimes I feel like I explain things and it makes sense to me, but it might not make sense to everyone else. So intentional reflection went really well, and I just wanted to think, is there anything else I want to put here? Like planning the summer. We kind of did like a little bucket list and came up with some ideas of things we want to do. And we're actually implementing them by planning out and doing them. My son and I both have a tendency of like just kind of getting comfortable, and we're very like, we're homebodies, so we are super happy just chilling at home and just kind of finding things around the house to do to keep us busy and entertained or whatever. But we did want to make that effort to make sure we're doing things. And so we did kind of talk about some of the things we want to do, and I'm making sure that we take the time to actually do them. And none of this is extravagant. It's literally like spend a few hours at the library or have a movie night, like that kind of stuff. And yeah, a movie night is like a stay at home kind of homebody thing. It's really just because it's something different. It's something other than just like turning on our favorite video game or something. Like it's an event. So summer plans are going well. All right, and then not so well actually also involves summer plans. We were planning on taking a trip in July as a family, but I think that's probably not going to happen at this point. We're just it's just hard to get everything coordinated, and I think we waited a little too long, and now it costs way more money than I really want to spend on like a little impromptu trip. So I think I'm scratching that, and we're all fine with it. We didn't lose any money on deposits or anything like that. And I think we're just gonna, like I said before, just kind of stick with our current summer plans. And then maybe we'll plan like a day trip to like a water park or the zoo or something. So that was kind of like one of my summer goals for like our fun and family goal category, was like to go on a summer trip. But I think just our summer plans are gonna take that spot instead. So the summer trip planning did not go so well, and that's okay. And so the lessons learned is that, what did I say a minute ago was a lesson learned? The thing that I learned was that being intentional about, it was, let me write so I don't mess up what I'm writing while I'm talking. Lessons learned. So when I realized, when I was like being intentional about everything and just being really reflective, I kind of realized that I was trying to do too much. And I think I've said this a few times in these reviews, but it wasn't like, I still don't have the concept of what is too much. I still think, oh, I can do all of this stuff. I genuinely just can't, and I need to just realize that. I think it seems to me that people are getting so much more done, especially like when you look at content on YouTube or Instagram or whatever, where there's people that are talking about like their goal setting systems. It's like they have all these categories and they're just checking things off their lists. Like, I'm doing all this stuff every single month, and it's like, I mean, I have a lot of stuff I have to do that's not goals, but just like tasks, like cleaning the house, keeping my kid alive, feeding him, laundry, all that kind of stuff. And it's a lot. And like, add in like people that have like a full-time job away from their home, and more than one kid and stuff like that. And like, I just don't think it's reasonable to expect to get like 8 goals done every month, you know? At this point, I feel like I'm like at 1. Like, if I can pick one goal and do like one major part of that goal in a month, like, I feel like that's it. Like, I'm tapped out. Like, because in addition to all the other things I need to be thinking about and doing on a regular basis, like, when are people finding time to do all these other huge goals? Like, and also like get enough sleep and exercise and, you know, all of the things that we're supposed to be doing. So that's kind of my lesson, is that even if other people are doing that, that doesn't mean I can, for whatever reason. You know, the season of life I'm in, where I'm solo parenting most of the time, and like, that's how my life is right now. So I can't expect myself to get all of these goals done that I think I can get done. Like, let me look at one of my dashboards here and just kind of see, like, okay, consistent nutrition, learn about landscaping, all my content planning. And then I always say like my financial goal is like a freebie, because that's like not really like a goal. It's just putting money in the other account. But like, the consistent nutrition takes a lot of time and effort, because I have to cook a lot of stuff from scratch for my personal, you know, goals and targets I'm trying to hit, right? So I have to cook a lot of that from scratch, which also means having a lot of fresh food in the house, not relying on packaged foods and things that are like convenience foods, which, believe me, I wish I could. I am not knocking convenience foods and packaged foods. Like, I have to prep a lot of stuff ahead of time, and then every day, any meal I eat has to be kind of cooked from scratch, with dishes and cleaning up the kitchen and all that. Like, that adds a lot. Like, it just does. And there are certain things that I can do to streamline that process, like on the front end, like a lot of early prep, but that kind of takes a lot of planning as well. Or I could just wait and do it every day and chop up things as I need them for meals, but then that's where the time is being spent on those days. So it's not saving time, it's just changing when I'm using that time. And so that's still a lot. Like, that's a lot that has to happen for every single meal. And then the learn about landscaping. I have been, in my free time, just kind of like, I might read an article about a certain plant I like to see, is that something that I can put in my yard? Is it going to fit in the spot where I'm thinking? and that kind of stuff. So like I'm learning about that, but I'm nowhere near ready to actually go and redo all the landscaping in my yard. So like when I made this goal, I was thinking, oh, this month I'll learn about the plants and maybe next month I'll just plant them all. Like, no, I'm not even anywhere near learning enough that I need to know about these plants that I'm going to spend time and money on. Like, I don't know, and I can't make that choice right now. It's too overwhelming. There's too many variables to consider. And with all the other things that I'm trying to learn about and do in my life, that's just not something that's happening. And so even though that seemed like a really easy pared down goal, I'm not anywhere close to getting to that point where I can do the landscaping at my house. So that's the kind of what I'm kind of trying to say, is that like all of these goals that I'm picking for myself are still a little too ambitious. And like, I'm okay with that, with not being able to get a ton of stuff done, but there's a disconnect with what my brain thinks is a ton of stuff. Like, I look at some of my stuff, I look at it, I'm like, oh, that's reasonable. But then when I look back at it and I'm like, there were so many things on that list. Why did I think I could get all of that done in 1 month? And then I kind of feel like if I don't think of it that way, I might look at my list and be like, I didn't check anything off. What is wrong with me? What am I wasting my time on? Am I lazy? All of those things. But no, it's really just, there's literally not enough time in the day to fit certain things in, you know? I prioritize spending time with my family, especially during the summer when my son is home all day. So instead of spending like an entire day working on a project that has nothing to do with him, we'll just chill together and maybe play a video game together. We like to do, like, we're doing Duolingo, so like we'll both sit together and do our Duolingo. We go to the library, we read together, so that kind of stuff. So even though he's an older kid and doesn't need my constant, like, you know, when he was a toddler or a preschooler and you just kind of had to be with them all the time, like, he doesn't need that anymore, but it's something that we do together just for bonding. So that I prioritize over the little projects I want to do in my house. And so I think that's where a lot of my time goes. But then I look back at my list of goals that I thought I could all get all done, and then they're not done, and I'm like, what did I do? Like, where was I when I was supposed to be doing this stuff? And then I feel like I must have just been being lazy. But that's not it at all. I just put too much on the list instead of considering what my life was really like in this time, in this season of my life. What is it really like, and how much time do I actually have to devote to these other things that I want to do? So I can't do everything. Like, I just can't. And so that is a lesson learned. I can't do everything. And I don't know, just time, concept of time. I'm going to actually put that as a challenge. So let me just, here, let's do this. My concept of time is a challenge, not a lesson. I already put that gray dot there, so that's kind of a bummer, but that's okay. So my challenge is in June. So I had two big ones. So we talked about my concept of time being like inaccurate. And then the other one, so let me write this real quick. So inaccurate concept of time. Okay, and then the other challenge is just the transition from the school year routine to the summer routine. That is, so school year routine transition. This kind of goes with my concept of time issue. I completely overestimated how much time I would have to do things, and not just my goal things, but just like regular things that I normally do. For whatever reason now, it's like I'm not on that school year schedule where, I got to get my son off to school by a certain time. And so like that routine in the morning worked a certain way. And then now that we're in summer and it's like more laid back and we're not on like a strict schedule, my routine has changed just slightly enough that it's like kind of like affecting everything. And so just coming off of the school year and going into summer, maybe next year, and even from going from summer and into the school year in the fall, I need to give myself some grace and buffer time for that. So school year routine transition into summer. How about that? So those were some challenges. And then what were some wins from June? June wins, I'm just gonna put content planning. I know I don't talk about it a lot on the channel. Obviously, I'm a content creator. Obviously, I make, 3 YouTube videos a week. I try to be consistent on Instagram. So that stuff, you're seeing the final product of that, but there's a lot that goes into each video you see and each Instagram post. And there's, whenever I'm making a freebie to download, or even the book club situation, there is a lot more that goes on that you don't see. And so that it requires a lot of planning and doing things ahead of time so that things can be ready by a certain time, giving myself enough time to do everything. I don't have any help. Like, I am not at the point in my little journey here yet where I can like hire a video editor or a virtual assistant or a social media manager. Like, I'm not even close to being at the point to ever being able to do that. Like, I can't even imagine that. And so I'm doing it all. And that means I have to be on top of what I want to get done. I need to know like when it needs to happen. What do I need to purchase ahead of time so it's here in time so that I can make the video by a certain day so it can get edited and uploaded and ready for you to watch by a very specific day and time, especially if it's like something like regarding like the Erin Condren launch, stuff like that. So like there's just a lot of moving parts, and at the same time I'm also trying to improve the quality of this kind of content so that it's actually useful for you and not just 20 minutes of something to watch. I actually want to give you something whenever I'm making these videos. It's like I want it to have a purpose other than just entertainment. And so there's just a lot. Like, I'm trying to improve on that. I'm trying to stay organized with all of this. And I think that I have done, for me, like the changes that I have made behind the scenes on my systems, I really feel like that has improved so much. And I'm super proud of myself for that. And it's not really something that you maybe even notice, but for me, it's just something I'm super proud of. So I'm just gonna put content planning because it's really like the planning aspect of my content that I feel like I'm improving on, and I'm creating and developing a system that will allow me to continue to grow and improve, if that makes sense. It's building in time to come up with better content and actually execute better content. So content planning, huge win. Feeling really confident and like impressed with myself for that. And then more of this. So let me put, my son and I have just been having so much fun, like hanging out together. So more of this. And I want to put on here just family time, and that's going to be easy because we're in summer and Yeah, we just love hanging out together. Like we'll sit together and just not even actually like doing something, but we put on like some of the YouTubers that he likes to watch. We'll put that on and we'll sit together and just like talk about the videos and stuff like that. And like I said earlier, we're both doing Duolingo together. He decided to do Duolingo whenever I think one of his friends was doing it. And so he was like, okay, I want to do it. So he did it. And then he told me he was learning Spanish. And I was like, how cool. So I actually took a whole lot of Spanish throughout middle school, high school, and college. So I have a lot of Spanish. I just don't ever use it. And so I was like, I'm going to get on Duolingo and like refresh my Spanish skills, and then maybe I'll actually be able to speak it like fluently with people. I know a lot of the vocabulary. I can read Spanish, and if I slow it down, I can understand Spanish, but I have a hard time just actually conversing in Spanish. So yeah. Like I was saying, so for family time, we'll actually just both get on our phones and do our Duolingo lessons like together, and it's just fun. It's just, I don't know, it's really neat that he's learning that on his own, and like we can speak Spanish to each other. It's so cool. Okay, and then less of this. So this is something that I don't typically struggle with, but I had found myself like a couple of times when I was like doubting myself. It was because I was kind of thinking about, well, what will someone else think of this if I do this, what is someone else going to think of that? And I don't normally struggle with that. I used to, but as I've gotten older and had more life experience, I have just kind of like learned to just not care. And like I don't, in the grand scheme of things, I don't care if someone doesn't like let's use my content for example. If someone doesn't like it, they think it's boring, or they've heard that tip before, or it's like cringy or whatever. Like if whatever someone might say negatively about my content, for example, that doesn't bother me. Like I don't care. Like just who cares? Like it doesn't need to be for everyone, right? And so it usually doesn't bother me, but sometimes when I am overthinking things, that's usually because I'm trying to make what I'm doing or saying, like make sure that it is like sanitized for everybody. I don't know how to explain it, but just worrying about what other people think. And I don't really struggle with that a lot, but when I have overthinking problems, that's usually the root of it. And so I don't want to do that. I need to remind myself it really doesn't matter if someone doesn't like what I'm doing. Like I know I'm not doing anything wrong or problematic. I'm not hurting anybody. And so that's really the only time I would care what other people think, is if I was like inadvertently like being awful about something, which I just don't see that happening. So, but really just like not worrying about if someone's gonna like what I'm doing. So like worrying about other people's opinions. I don't know where my camera turned off. So I was rambling anyway, so it was probably a good thing that my camera shut off and got me to stop talking. But anyway, for less of this, worrying about other people's opinions, I'm not gonna do that. I need to stop doing that. I don't do it a lot, but when I do, I wanna not. So those were my questions. The last thing on here is next month's goals, and I'm actually not going to go into next month's goals in this video. And here's why. This is the end of June, which is the end of quarter 2. We're going into quarter 3, and I have a different video where I'm gonna review quarter 4 and talk about my goals for quarter 3. And I want to actually do all that prep work in a different system. And we will talk about that very soon. You will see that very soon, so don't worry. But, and then you will see whenever I do my June monthly plan with me in my new planner, I will do my goals here. So stay tuned for that video and also my Q3 video. And yeah, so that is it for this video. If you're still here with me, thank you so much for watching and being a part of my little functional planning community. If you liked the video, please hit the thumbs up button. And if you really liked it, please consider subscribing, because I have new videos like this 3 times a week, and I would love to see you in the next one. Until then, embrace your imperfections and just be you. Bye.